This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is jazz pianist and Cedar Rapids native Jon Snell, who is back for a little bit of a visit after working and going to school in the Manhattan area for the last year. And you have a show with your old band, the Commons Collective, tonight.
That's right. Yeah, we're playing at Campbell Steele Gallery this evening at 7 p.m.
And we'll talk more about that specifically here in just a minute. But I really wanted to kind of have wander off in the tall grass and talk to you a little bit about how things are going in New York, how school and some of the experiences that you've had at the Manhattan School of Music. So first off, for those who don't know you, you're a Washington grad, University of Northern Iowa.
That's right.
Commons Collective came together while you guys were at UNI.
Yes. So we got together my sophomore year, so that would have been 2011. Well, actually, I should tell the whole story because the concert itself is a little bit kind of meaningful itself too. Campbell Steele. I used to do a summer residency there back in 2011 and 2013. We played every Friday and Saturday of the summer, solo performances, and sometimes I would bring in other musicians too. And Nolan Schrader happened to be on a lot of those gigs as well. So after that summer, we had gotten together up at school and put together this band, and
which is interesting because of the five of you, four of you are from the Cedar Rapids area.
That's true. Yeah.
But you guys didn't really get together until you got to UNI.
Not really. I had met Nolan just very very briefly at the end of my senior year of high school, and we'd played maybe a couple times together, but it wasn't until UNI that we'd really gotten to know each other. So. And
of course, you have a little history with KCCK too. You were a student at our very first jazz band camp back in 2006, and while you were at Washington, you played in the Corridor Jazz Project. Who were your guest artists that you worked with? Do you remember?
Let's see, Sam Salamone. I think Dave Coverdall.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
Steve Grismore. I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Yeah, that's that thing about the first 3 years. That sounds about right. So graduated from UNI, lived and worked back home for a little while, and then you got into the Manhattan School of Music.
That's right. Yep. So I've been there for a year now, and I'm really loving it. It's been a challenging opportunity, but really great growing experience, and just surrounded by a lot of very talented students and faculty that have really inspired me to work as hard as I can. You really probably felt like you got tossed into the deep end of the pool. Well, yeah, it's a lot to work towards. So, but I'm loving every minute of it. What does your class structure look like when you're going to grad school at this level? Are you sitting in class, or is it more working on your own, coming together, doing, writing music, submitting, playing ensembles, that kind of thing? It's a little bit of both. Our classes meet once a week instead of that, so that's a little bit different. It'll meet once a week for longer durations of time. But there's still class, but there's also enough time outside of class to really work on the stuff that you need to work on for class and other things too. So, are you specializing in a particular area? Well, my degree is technically jazz piano performance, but the whole deal in the Manhattan School of Music Jazz Arts program is that they have you focus on the three major aspects that they believe is important for every musician. That's performance, composition, and pedagogy. So they kind of focus the program to cover all of those aspects. And of course, you've been playing out professionally since pretty much you were in high school, so you have a pretty good idea of how the business of being a musician works. But do any of your classes, or are there any seminars or anything like that on the business end of being in music? There's a few classes like that at school, and every once in a while they have workshops and stuff like that. So I try to attend as many of those things as I can. There's a lot to learn. So. And have you had a chance to play out a little bit in New York? A little bit, yeah. The longer I've been there, the more opportunities I've gotten. Right now, I'm doing a kind of a steady gig with some of the singers at school. We have a project called Vinyl Live, and we play the last Tuesday of every month at the 55 bar. And other than that, there's been a few other random things, but nothing steady. The Vinyl Live thing at the 55 bars happens every single month.
So what kind of music is that?
I'm trying to think of the phrase that we use in the group, but it's something like music from the past with a nod to the future or something like that. We did a series that focused on music from different decades. So we did the 20s and 30s, 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and so forth, but with a modern spin on the arrangements. But we played a variety of music ranging from like the Beatles to Prince and original compositions, other things like that too. So
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a great time
and a nice variety too.
Yeah, very much
some
so.
Areas that you probably haven't done a lot with too much in the past.
No, but it's a great experience and a great challenge too, and I love working with all the people at school too.
What's been your most memorable music experience that you've been in New York?
That's a good. I was fortunate to have an opportunity recently to play with Luis Bonilla. We played 2 nights at this bar and grill called the Knickerbocker. But he's just such a great guy, such an inspiring person and musician, and it was an honor to get to play with him. So I think that's one of the top experiences that's coming to mind right now. So
talking with Jon Snell, Iowa expat living and going to school in New York right now, student at the Manhattan School of Music. Back for a couple of weeks this summer. You played every night after the Iowa City Jazz Festival, but I also saw you at stage side pretty much for every show.
Yeah. I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to try to be home because the Iowa City Jazz Fest is, it's amazing. It's great.
It was a great weekend. So here is how I am. Here's how I am when I talk to people. Here is how I can tell where they are on the jazz spectrum. So John, Vijay Iyer or Larry Fuller?
I enjoyed it both.
Okay.
I enjoyed both.
And as a pianist, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of pianists represented at the festival this year, so I really enjoyed seeing Vijay Iyer play live. I had not seen him play live before, and I really enjoyed it. So
I knew that his music was going to be, was going to be pretty progressive and cerebral. What surprised me about it was what a great groove it had.
It really had a nice, he played a lot of stuff from his new album on ECM, Break Stuff, I think it's called, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the performance.
Most of the people I've talked to have a preference. They say, well, I really loved Vijay, and Larry was a great player, but not so much to me. And the other end of the spectrum is, I really loved Larry and the Oscar Peterson style of just basic swinging standards, and Vijay, I appreciated his talent, but that didn't speak to me quite as much. So it's an interesting dichotomy.
Yeah, see, for me, I loved aspects of both of them, so it's hard to pick one or the other.
Aside from that, what was your favorite moment?
I really enjoyed the harpist. I can't remember his name.
Edmar.
Yeah, that I had not heard him before the festival, and it was just a complete surprise to me, and I loved it.
I had several people refer to that as the "what the heck" entry in the jazz festival, and there almost always is one of those where going in you're kind of going, well, what's that all about?
Exactly.
And then almost always you come out of it going, that was cool, was what that was.
It was amazing.
Well, the more as I thought about it, I thought, well, that makes because the harp, he's got all those strings. He can play the bass. He can play the lead. He can pound on it and and do percussion.
And the wind too. That was cool.
And the wind was like an instrument all by itself. The instrumentation I found, trombone, drums, and harp, that was a head scratcher for me until I heard it.
Me too.
And then when I did hear it, it was like, oh, well, that is a complete ensemble. You don't need anything else.
Exactly. It worked by itself. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great fun. So tonight is the Commons Collective reunion. You guys haven't played together in about a year or so.
It's been about a year now.
Of course, you played the Jazz Festival a couple of years ago, kind of an abbreviated set because we were interrupted by rain.
Yeah.
And Jazz Under the Stars. That was a great night.
Yep.
And now you guys have all kind of been off doing your own thing, and now you're coming together. So how does that feel? Have you rehearsed at all, or are you just going to kind of come together and make it up as you go along?
We've gotten together set lists, and we will be. We're going to get together for a brief rehearsal before the performance tonight too. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're playing some old music. We're playing some music from our albums. Playing some unrecorded music and some new music too. I wrote a piece that just special for this event too. So it should be a good time.
Yeah. Well, you guys of course are my friends and friends at the station. But that aside, the music of the Commons Collective stands up against anything else that we play here at KCCK, and we've had great fun putting you on stage and also playing your CDs. And of course, with you playing tonight, we'll be hearing a lot of Commons Collective music today.
It should be fun.
Yeah, and that doesn't hurt. Just looking forward to it. So house is getting pretty filled, but there are all a handful of tickets left if people still want to go.
Yeah, just a few. I think last I checked, there were like eight tickets left.
Okay, so you and 7 friends can come.
Yeah.
If you get on the website right now. And that is campbellsteele.com.
Yeah, or musicinthemud.com.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I think if you go to campbellsteele.com, it redirects to the other side. But either one will work.
They both go to the same place. So, well, I'm looking forward. I'll be there in the front row tonight.
Excellent.
And ready to get to know Commons Collective once again. And Jon, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So glad to see you this week, and glad to have a chance to see you play multiple times over the weekend, and of course tonight with Commons Collective. Have a good year in Manhattan next year, and stop by periodically and
I will.
Tell us what's going on.
I will.
Jon Snell from Commons Collective. Again, 7:30 tonight at Campbell Steele Gallery is the concert. There are a few tickets left at musicinthemud.com.